That's what you call unrestricted submarine warfare. The second thing, the Zimmerman Note, which is engaging Mexico into a conflict with the United States. We find out about it, and we're not too happy about it. President Wilson is the one that will ask Congress to declare war on Germany, and the United States enters war in 1917. Eventually, after everything is said and done, the Treaty of Versailles is the one that will end the war. But I didn't see this one, I'm sorry. John J. Pershing is the general that is in charge of the United States military. Alvin York is a very decorated soldier of World War I. Again, the Treaty of Versailles is what is officially going to end the war, World War I. We do not sign the Treaty of Versailles. The United States signs a different treaty because we do not like the League of Nations. The League of Nations is created, but the United States does not agree with it because it would drag us, the United States, into foreign conflicts, and we did not agree with that. So we do not sign the Treaty of Versailles. We're going to sign another one. Then you have the 1920s. From 1920 to 1929, yes, this is called the Roaring Twenties, but we also go into a period of isolationism. We just went through a massive world war for 3 years or 2 years or whatever it might have been, and we do not want to be involved in somebody else's mess. And so the United States becomes isolated during 1920 to 1929. There's also something called the Teapot Dome scandal having to do with Warren Harding. The American government, well, the presidents at this time, we call them the do-nothing presidents. They're Republican. They're very laissez-faire. They allow businesses to grow, and this is where the economy is thriving. The temperance movement, organized movement to prevent drinking of alcohol, it becomes really, really forced during this time. You have prohibition, and you have the 18th Amendment, which is going to be passed, which will not allow Americans to drink, transport, make, sell, anything having to do with alcohol. That's the 18th Amendment. Eventually, you're also going to have the 21st Amendment, which is going to outdo the 18th Amendment. That won't come until 1933, though. The Harlem Renaissance has to do with highlighting, demonstrating the talents of the African American culture in regards to the overall culture of the United States. This is where they demonstrate that they're very talented in music and arts and poetry and all of these things. Nativism, the extreme hatred of immigrants. This happens in the 1920s also because we are afraid of, who are we afraid of?
Communism.
Communists. Okay, so there's a Red Scare of the 1920s as well, which is a fear of communism. And this is what's going to give rise to nativism. Flappers, this is a new woman of the 1920s, shorter hair. She's drinking, smoking, partying, working outside the home. She becomes very independent. You have the Monkey Scopes trial, which has to do with, you have fundamentalists, you have Christians versus modern thinkers, scientists, and they're saying that the world was created. One side, the fundamentalists are saying that God created Adam and Eve and all of that. And then you have the scientists that are talking about the Big Bang Theory. So this is basically modernist versus religion. Okay, this is the big conflict. And then, of course, the flapper goes already with the new style of women. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so in the Great Depression, it is caused because during the 1920s, people are buying on installment plans, they're buying on credit, they're not investing properly. So because of that, you have the stock market crash, which leads us to the Great Depression. So the world trade declines, nobody's trading with each other, you have high unemployment, you have poor people, you have banks that close. So then you have a new president, President FDR. He creates the New Deal. In the New Deal, it makes government a whole lot bigger, because now government's involved with people. Part of the New Deal is the 3 R's, so relief, recovery, reform. That's to help the economy during the Great Depression. This one actually goes over here in the 1920s. It says business booms, but it's superficial because it breaks in the Great Depression. He makes government a lot bigger, and he tries to pack the court. So he tries to make the court a whole lot bigger and change the Constitution, but he's unsuccessful. And then on top of all the economic stuff, you have the Dust Bowl, so it makes things bad for the farmers as well. The only thing to fix the Great Depression was World War II, because everybody got a job in World War II. So in World War II, you have all sorts of things. We get involved because of the Pearl Harbor attack, December 7, 1941. You have dictators, so you have Hitler in Germany, you have Mussolini in Italy.